seems like forever since you've seen the Winnipeg Jets on home ice. You are not that far off. January 15th, Winnipeg beat the Vegas Golden Knights for their 5th win in a row at Bell MTS Place. Tonight they welcome the dangerous Columbus Blue Jackets here tonight. JetsTV Live pregame show presented by Budweiser. I'm your host, Jamie Thomas. I say dangerous about the Columbus Blue Jackets. They have lost 3 games in a row. Their last loss was a less than average effort against the Buffalo Sabres that has head coach John Tortorella extremely upset. We'll have a portion of his scrum with the media a little bit later for you. Meanwhile, the home team can be pretty happy about their effort on Tuesday night. It was a 4-3 shootout win over top of the Boston Bruins, a game that had a little bit of everything. Mitchell Clinton's coming back to the desk. He'll have more on that. Ben Chiarot returned to the Jets lineup on Tuesday against the Boston Bruins. Did not look out of place at all. We'll go one-on-one with the Jets defenseman. Wednesday was a special day here at Bell MTS Place as the Project 11 Summit was held. Over 4,000 students were in attendance. I spoke with Craig Heisinger, the Jets assistant general manager, about that. We'll have that interview for you a little bit later. As we usually do, though, let's go inside the Jets dressing room to hear their comments about tonight's game against Columbus.
You know, there's a lot of speed in the East for sure. Not that there isn't in the West, but I think, you know, you just see maybe a little bit more of that, you know, speed throughout the neutral zone and whatnot. But, I mean, we just played Philly and Boston that were, you know, didn't give you much. They play really solid defensive hockey. I mean, the game in Philly, I thought they really played well defensively, and same in Boston. Neither of those teams allow you to get many shots through the net, and it's the same thing with Columbus. You know, they have guys that actually you know play a heavy game and don't give you a lot. So it should be similar to how those last couple games looked, and the intensity's ramped up now that we're into that last stretch.
You know what? They're just an awful lot like we are. They've got a young team that. It's got some high-end skill, but it's also got some physicality to them. They play hard, they finish their checks. So our games against Columbus are a heavy cost, but usually pretty entertaining night.
Yeah, I think it's a bit tough when you play against teams you don't see a lot. You know, you get used to playing teams in your division a ton, and you get used to the players and the style of play. You know, it just takes that feel for it. You don't really have a feel for it until you're on the ice against them. And it's like whoever can get up to speed and figure out the other team fastest has a better chance.
Before I get to Mitchell Clinton, quick shout out to Harvey Ullman, season seat holder of the game. Got himself a New Jersey. We just met and had a good chat with him here, and had a dinner here. Was having dinner here at the Exchange. So nice to meet you, Harvey.
No invite to the dinner for us, though.
We did not get that. Yeah. We just don't seem to get invites here for it all.
Maybe next year.
We're very busy. We're very busy for 15 minutes here from 6 o'clock on. Before we get to the Jets 2-game road trip, we'll go over in a second. Quick update on Dustin Byfuglien and Nikolai Ehlers and their progress coming back from injury.
Yeah, both skated prior to the morning skate today, so obviously that's a good sign. Paul Maurice had said previously that they were skating, so that's not news. But the news is that Dustin Byfuglien has moved kind of out of that. We're not sure when he'll be back. There's kind of a window to day-to-day, which is always good to see. So basically it's just, you know, he'll skate and then they'll see if he comes back feeling good, and then he'll kind of advance to the next thing where they'll give him a real good tug, as Paul Maurice likes to call it. And if he keeps progressing, he could get closer to being back in the lineup. So Dustin Byfuglien inching closer. Nikolai Ehlers, though, a little bit further away. They want to have a certain amount of time pass before he gets back in the lineup. And Paul Maurice said kind of February 4th would be kind of that day where they would start considering where he's at.
And they still are in a very good place without both of those players sitting in first place in the Central Division, 2 points up on Nashville, still have 2 games in hand on the Nashville Predators. They come back from that 2-game road trip, 1 game not so good, but very good in Boston on Tuesday. Yeah. That wasn't the topic of conversation to start things off. Nope. It wasn't Dustin Byfuglien when he's coming back. It is, again, Patrick Laine, who has himself just 1 goal in the month of January. Just where are you with this, and how are you feeling about his play as of late?
Well, you can tell he's frustrated. I mean, but the good thing about it is he's trying to find ways to get out of whatever, if you want to call it a slump or whatever he may call it as well. He's a guy that is putting in the work. So he comes on the ice traditionally pretty early for morning skate and or practice, and routinely he's been one of the last guys off the ice for morning skate as well. So you know he's working with coaches. He's trying to figure out exactly what he can do. Over the last 5 games, he's second in shots on goal, only to Blake Wheeler, 20-17. So he's a guy he's getting pucks to the net. I think he'd like to try to get more into that home plate area a little bit.
Right.
But Even you look at the game against Boston, he was able to get to that area, and he was probably about half a stride away from getting that shot off, but unfortunately didn't go for him. In Philadelphia, he had a chance from that area that Carter Hart made a save on, but Carter Hart was very good in that game. Patrick Laine had 6 shots on goal in that one, so he knows overall, as well as a line, they have to play a little bit better. Paul Maurice said, though, away from the puck, when he's not, putting pucks on net, trying to score goals, Patrick Laine's game has evolved. He says the turnovers are down. He's trying to get in on the physical play to try to get some things going for him, so that at least his play away from the puck is a little bit better. But as Paul Maurice likes to say about goal scorers, these guys they can do all the things on the ice right, but for players like that, they just need to see some pucks go in the net.
And of course, Patrick Laine's 11 minutes of ice time in Boston, a big topic of conversation.
Yeah.
But there was more reason behind that, but that's for another time, Mitch. Patrick Laine's struggles on the power play might play into the fact that this Jets power play doesn't look as good as it had at the beginning part of the year. Also, something plays a role in this is the lack of Dustin Byfuglien at the point. Just 6 power play goals since Dustin Byfuglien's most recent injury says a lot about how much they miss him there. But there is some light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Josh Morrissey and Jacob Trouba doing a very good job on that first unit.
Yeah, of course, and it's been Jacob Trouba at points. It's been Josh Morrissey at points. I talked to Josh Morrissey a little bit about that at the morning skate today, and he basically said there's a couple of things. So first off, on the power play, they want to try to move the puck a little bit more, a little bit faster, just so that you get the penalty killers a little bit out of position. But you mentioned the goals that they've been scoring since the player break ended. You see the one right now, that's the Roslovic tip that beats Carter Hart. The other one was Josh Morrissey's goal against the Boston Bruins. That's a slap shot from the point. I feel like Dustin Byfuglien is one of those players that shows up on penalty kill video all the time. So, of course, the Jets have a lot of threats and a lot of skill on both power play units. But guys like Josh Morrissey, Jacob Trouba are now going to start to show up on that video. So now the high penalty killers have to inch out a little bit further. And it's not like they got to go out there another few feet. It's just a few inches. But you talk to players like Mark Scheifele and Blake Wheeler, how many inches do they need to get a puck through? It's only a few. So you start getting penalty killers inching out towards the point a little bit more, all of a sudden those seams open up.
Lots of talk always about whenever the Winnipeg Jets take on the Nashville Predators, and for good reason. High tempo, lots of entertainment, lots of goals, lots of big saves, high event games, as Paul Maurice likes to call them. There was a high event game in Boston the other night, and the Jets have had high event games against the Boston Bruins. What is it about these more physical type teams that kind of brings the Jets' level of play up a little bit more?
Well, Blake Wheeler probably summed it up best after the game, where he basically said, you look at their roster, you look at our roster, we're kind of built the same way. You got players that can really skate, you got guys that are more physical, you got players that can do both. And so you got rosters that are comprised that way. Sometimes fireworks are going to happen, and that's what happened in the second period. And those back-to-back fights between Adam Lowry and Brandon Tanev, Paul Maurice said, really got the bench up. All of a sudden, he said the bench completely changed, and it almost seems like the Jets got back to their game. The game that they want to play happened after that. After those fights happened. So you look at the Nashville Predators as well. You play them 4 times a year in the Central Division, so a natural rivalry is going to build there. And then you have a 7-game playoff series on top of that. They're also a team that's kind of built pretty similarly to the Winnipeg Jets. So anytime you kind of have 2 rosters that are built that way, that like to play physical, don't shy away from it, you're going to start to see that kind of game. And you look at Columbus, who Paul Maurice this morning said is kind of built and look and play kind of like a Western Conference team. So I looked this up today, and both teams are outside of the top 15 in hits, but I still expect a physical affair tonight.
Appreciate Tyler Esquivel getting us a second mic, because this looks legit now.
It looks so simple, but it was a long day today.
One microphone is such a big addition to the JetsTV Live pregame show. Mitch, really appreciate the time. Yeah. Ben Chiarot back in the lineup on Tuesday after missing 3 games, a lower body injury, 3 hits, an assist, just did not look at a place at all. Here's my one-on-one with the Jets defenseman. Ben, just wondering how you're feeling the game against the Bruins after the player break, the All-Star break, and then just a little bit more of a break, just how you felt in that game.
Yeah, no, I felt good. Legs and body felt good. It takes a little bit to get your hands back after 2 weeks off, but I thought, after about a period or so, I felt pretty good.
You're a physical guy, so how enjoyable was it to play against a team like Boston that does play the physical style?
Yeah, those are fun games. You see them, games that get chippy like that, they're kind of far and few between now with the way the game is played and kind of the type of players that people put out there. But that's a fun game and you know, one that I think our style of team likes to be in.
Is it a good response from your club, considering the way the first period went, and then just to match their physicality?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, Laos and Tanny did great jobs of, you know, stepping up for our team, and you know, we got some guys that can play a physical brand of hockey, and I think you saw that against Boston.
Columbus is almost in that same style of play, especially with a coach like John Tortorella. What are you looking for from the Blue Jackets tonight?
Yeah, you know what, over the years we don't see too much of them, but they always play, you know, hard and work hard and you know, block shots and do all the little things and the hard things really well. So it's never an easy game against these guys.
Seems like a long time since you played here at Bell MTS Place, but here you are, just first of 3 games. How important is it to get back in the swing of things on home ice?
Yeah, I mean, kind of heading into the home stretch here, the last quarter of the season. So you want to, you know, you get teams that are hungry for playoff points, and you get a more playoff type feel to some of the games. So it's exciting. It's a good time of year, and it's when the intensity picks up. So I think we're looking forward to it.
Appreciate the time.
All right, thank you.
Mentioned off the top of the show, the Columbus Blue Jackets are in a tough place right now, having dropped 3 games in a row. Their 2 best players, Sergei Bobrovsky and Artemi Panarin's club, or the future with the club, looks bleak right now, and head coach John Tortorella wasn't very happy about their effort on Tuesday night against the Buffalo Sabres. Let's go to the other side.
It's a good team. It's a good team we're playing, and it was a god-awful team that I coached the other night. So hopefully we'll answer the proper way.
I think everyone needs to chip in. Obviously, you lose Boone, it's a hole for us. You know, we can't keep relying on PL's line, you know, each and every night to provide all the offense. So, yeah, we got to put a little pressure on ourselves. I think, you know, lines 2, 3, and 4, whoever, you know, whichever way you want to slot them. So we got to put a little pressure on ourselves to, you know, play better and you know, play better offensively. But I think in general, just play better, play stiffer, play harder. You know, make good reads with and without the puck, and you know, try and generate from that way.
You know, our division's tight. It's been tight every year since I've been here, and we know every game's important, and each point is important in those games. So we're playing a good team tonight, but we have to be ready to go, and we have to bring our energy and our compete level. And you know, I have no doubts we're going to do that.
Project 11 is inspired and created in honor of number 11, Rick Rippon, a former player of the Winnipeg Jets at Manitoba Moose. It is available to support students in kindergarten to grade 4 and in grades 5 to 8 with virtual tutorials educating students about mental wellness. Yesterday here at Bell MTS Place, Project 11 Summit was held with guest speakers Brian Little, Nikolai Ehlers, and of course Jets Assistant General Manager Craig Heisinger. Here's my conversation with Heisinger earlier today. Considering the weather outside, it only makes sense that Craig Heisinger is wearing a toque, but this is all about Project 11. And Craig, let's get into the meat of things here. Just how proud are you of Project 11 as we get into another year of it?
Well, I mean, I think it's grown certainly over the last 5 years. We see the impact it's not only had in the community, but in the schools across the province. We're touching up to over 15,000 kids every school year. You see the contingent we had here for the Project 11 Summit in conjunction with Bell Let's Talk. The only social media I follow is Twitter, but the only thing trending on my Twitter all day was Bell Let's Talk. Yeah. So it's not just Project 11, it's just slowly over the years, I think the country in general has done a great job of removing the stigma surrounding mental illness. And you can tell just by, you have 5,000 kids in an arena that aren't forced to be here attentive and listening. Last Thursday you speak to a group of 600 adults that are attentive and listening, and you know, an age demographic of 30 to 65, which is a hard group to pay attention to mental wellness. So I think not just Project 11, Bell Let's Talk, everybody in general, it's just becoming more like an injury, and you talk about it.
I've heard you say this before, but if you can reach just 2 out of 100 people, that's a good thing in your mind. Do you still go with that today? Absolutely. One of the things that's really noticeable to me is when we started, or I guess when I started speaking right after Rip's passing, I did a middle school of like 300 kids, and sort of 2 kids hung around and circled around to talk. And now when you do that same middle school, 12 to 15 to 17 kids hang around to talk, and they don't talk in third person or about their friend.
they're very direct about what's going on in their life or in a relationship or with bullying or whatever. And you know, one of the interesting things when you use the term bullying is the different meaning it has in different demographics. You talk to kindergarten age kids through middle schools. Bullying means everything from the playground to cyberbullying. When you talk to a group of 45 to 70-year-old men, which we just did a month ago, bullying is still the old term of bullying on the school ground, and they're not familiar with, say, what their grandkids deal with in social media. So it's a learning curve for everyone when you do these events.
What are you most proud of at this point? I mean, there's so much you guys have accomplished at this moment, but what are you proud of right now?
I think at the end of the day that we can have an event like yesterday and everybody's engaged in it. And I think that the numbers that we're starting to hit in the classrooms, as I said, over 15,000 students, over 400 classrooms, and the interest we get throughout the province, the different places that would like you to go and learn about your program. This year we've been to Churchill, we've been to Thompson. We've had interest from all over the U.S. and certainly other provinces in Canada. So, you're making a difference. I just got an email from a guy in ex-pro player from Massachusetts this morning that saw some footage, I guess, from the event and was looking to reach out and talk. So I think that's what resonates. It's not the thousands, it's the one.
What would Rick think of this when you look back at it? I imagine he'd be pretty pleased.
He would, because it's his legacy and it's his message. We're just here to deliver it for him. It's our voices and I guess our words, but it's clearly his message and his thoughts. And in an event like we had here, the Project 11 Summit, somewhere he was there watching down and laughing that I had to do the speaking.
As always, really appreciate the time, Zinger.
Really appreciate the interest. Thanks very much, Jamie.
It's great stuff from Zinger and a great program as Project 11. Make sure you tune in to JetsTV Live post-game show right after the Jackets and the Winnipeg Jets for your chance at the next Jets Rewards code word and your chance at 50 Jets Reward points. On behalf of Craig Heisinger, Ben Chiarot, and Mitch Clinton, thanks for watching the JetsTV Live pregame show. We'll see you, actually not watch you, we'll see you after the game between the Jets and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Have a good night.